Welcome, one and all, back to the League of Style. Tonight, we continue Season 14 with the first stream of Week 4. Rank 55 PF Changs will be testing their mettle against Rank 46 Mythic Ascension. Both of these teams are, of course, perennial contenders here in the Style League. Unfortunately, both teams also had a tragic end to their previous season, as PF Changs and Mythic Ascension both took first seed in their divisions, Freljord and Piltover, respectively, at the end of the regular season, but both squads were unceremoniously booted from the bracket, with neither of them able to pick up a single match win in the postseason. Of course, all of that is in the past now. I'm sure both squads are hoping to find a bit more consistency in the new year and the new season, but only one could accomplish that here tonight. PF Changs were successful in claiming a victory in their last visit to the Rift. They took down their sister team PF Goons in a 2-1 score last Thursday. Top laner Espada the Fourth seems to have been the most stable point on the map in their wins, going a combined 10-2 and 16 on Gwen and Cassante in games 1 and 3. On the other hand, Mythic Ascension seemed to have been struggling a bit, as in their last match only yesterday, they were dispatched by Call It Karma in a 2-0 loss. Call It Karma is a higher ranked team at rank 36, so they were certainly a tough opponent for Mythic Ascension. Will this be Mythic Ascension's opportunity to turn things around, or will PF Changs punch above their weight and take MA down another rung in the rankings? Bringing you this Tuesday night cast from the Auto Host location, yours truly, Chris Crewman. Hope you all didn't miss me too much. And I'm joined, of course, by the top-notch TDS. Long time no cast, my friend. How you doing tonight?
Been a while, but I already got pumped with that introduction. Everything laid out perfectly to be ready for both of these teams. It also made me understand that honestly, it feels like number one seed is cursed because more times than less, the one that takes it loses.
Yeah, I mean that certainly is how things played out at the end of last season. But at this level of play, things do tend to be pretty volatile in my
Yeah,
experience. So just because you've had a winning record, over the course of several weeks, doesn't necessarily mean that you can't slip up at exactly the wrong moment. But we'll
100%.
see how the teams do tonight. Should be an exciting one, no doubt. We are into the draft, I believe. Let's go ahead and hop in
Yes.
there, see what we're going to be selecting for our first game of the evening.
And I feel like we're about, well, it's still not yet, if I'm not wrong, the patch or the 13.1b shouldn't be out just yet, if I'm not 100% wrong. So
You're
this is
correct.
okay. So this is not going to be with the AD carry changes and some of the more impactful, like overall changes that could impact the meta completely. I believe that it's going to change quite a bit. So if this is still similar to what we've seen so far, a lot of the utility carries can be quite strong. Lucian Nami has been rising up in priority, but we have Seri Lulu is still a thing, Seri Yumi is still a thing. Obviously, Barriers can be a hyper carry, a poke carry, things like that. And I think that that's going to be part of the focus that we're going to see. Also, particularly Bai, I want to see if it gets contested because her utility in games can be quite impactful. And teams like this that do want to try and take the easier approach to try and stack up wins can be more inclined into going for that buy.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a big fan of the Vi myself, as you may remember TDS, so I would
True.
like to see that one picked up as well. We'll have to see, but finished with the first phase of bans already. A couple of mid lane artillery mages banned out by Changs and the Ziggs and the Zerath. And MTC going to go ahead and remove Hecarim and Lulu. So one jungle option taken off the board. Let's see what PFC want to go for with their first pick from blue side.
So there's Ash possibly, there's Seri possibly, there's Varus possibly, like we pointed out. There's also you could opt for other maybe positions. Renekton could be a pick here. I think teams do like to pick the Renekton. I hate it myself,
Mhm.
but it is something that other teams do opt into. Brom is not something I would have ever expected as a first pick, but we're here, and I think maybe PF Chang's may have a good plan with it.
They were really running out the clock there. Really seemed like it was a bit difficult for them to make that decision on what they decided to go for with their first pick. But it is, in the end, going to be the Braum for Jaquel. Not sure how to say that one, to be honest. Down there in the support position.
No.
Certainly an interesting selection. Oh, unfortunate. I mean, it is a good pick into the Braum, right?
And it's strong
Certainly
right now.
allow. Oh, of course, of course. Especially depending on the pairing See what's going to be locked up alongside the cat down there in the bot lane. Lots of strong pairings, and also some less strong pairings.
That's true. I think that with Lucian getting banned away, Seri is still an option. I was thinking of Tom and Jerry. It's not Tom and Jerry. Damn it! They made me feel happy for a second. It's going to be Sparkles, and I'm not fully in favor. Like not because it's a bad one. It's just because I'm tired of seeing it already.
I think
But
we all are.
but it's a really strong pairing. It's one that
Yeah,
can
yeah.
carry out games, and it's also one that gives you that kind of backing into the late game in case something goes horribly wrong. You know that always Yumi can come back and carry you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've seen it so many times at so many different
Exactly.
levels of play. Like that isn't necessarily gated by rank or anything like that. And it is going to be the Jinx and Response. So seems like a pretty good pairing alongside the Braum, but it's going to be, I think, tough for them to stand up to the power of the Yumi.
Jinx with Lulu banned away, I think Jinx Karma could actually be an option just because of the poke potential, or you could opt obviously into. I was actually thinking of the support position. Bram was picked there. I blanked because I never see the support getting first pick, or not typically. So the Bram just kind of slipped in my mind. But yeah, Bram Jinx not the best pairing. Certainly going to be pushed quite a bit in bot lane, but I like that they went for a jungler that has that point and click CC so that whenever they want to try and set up plays in the bot lane, they can just go immediately in with the Bolivar and follow up as soon as possible with the Braum as well. Gragas also not a bad choice to disengage.
Definitely, definitely. A engage slash disengager to match the Volibear in the Gragas. It's a bit of a flex pick. Could go
Yep,
we haven't seen jungle Gragas in a while, but I feel like he's still viable in the jungle. But we do, by the way, have a little bit of an update for the pronunciation on the support. It is
perfect.
Juakale. Juakale.
Wakale, Wakale.
Yeah. So good to
Really
know
good. Has
there,
to be like that.
certainly. And now into the second phase of bans. The Jack's going to be removed by the side of Mythic
Understandable.
Ascension. Yeah. Maokai, another pick that has seen a
Hmm.
lot of popularity recently in pro play.
But interesting that with the Bolivar, you would typically think that Maokai would be more so towards that top lane position, jungle position potentially. Gragas obviously doesn't also gives you that kind of flex potential, right? So it's not like you're bound to pick it. I'm just surprised to see it in the ban list. I feel like there's maybe other places where you could put that focus. I was thinking more in the top lane because, like you were pointing out, Gragas jungle is still a thing. You can focus more towards that side. And Fiora is a popular champion. Obviously, we know Aatrox can also be quite strong. The Jax did get banned away. So there's options up there that I would have expected to be banned
Cascante
away more
still up as
so.
well. Ooh,
Ooh,
it's the
the Yone.
Yone that's going to get locked in for Mythic, though. So presumably into the mid lane for DJ on the side of
Okay.
Mythic.
Could it be
Yeah.
Joni top lane?
Well, it could be. Yeah, we can't rule it out entirely. Certainly a possibility. But PF Chang's, I imagine they'll be expecting it to go mid, and now it is time for them
Yeah.
to round out their composition. It's going to be the Akali, and now likely, I believe the top laner is what is left to pick on the side of PFC.
I think a Santa here wouldn't be a bad option if I'm honest.
Yeah, I mean we know it's something that Espada can play. He pulled it out
Yep.
last week. That's going to be the Gwen, though. So this is another favorite of his, something else that he's performed quite well on in the past. So certainly some very strong AP solo laners for PF Chang's. They're a little bit heavy on the magic damage. So if
100%.
Drury Lane falls behind on the Jinx, they could be in a bit of trouble.
100%. That can be a little bit risky just because of the amount of tankiness that there is on the side of Mythic. And we were talking about the potential of the Gragas jungle. Look at that. It's Ornn picked in the last pick. So that means that it's going to be Ornn top Gragas jungle. And they could opt for a really
Yeah,
tanky frontline with these two champions. Team fighting may be quite difficult because if you cannot pass in front of these two big mid shields, and that's something that Akali and Gwen may end up struggling with because of their close a bit close proximity abilities that can knock you off or just completely put a lot of chaos into the team fights, then it just becomes really hard for them to reach the backline. And that's their true purpose. Like, you don't pick a Kali and Wen to kill tanks. You pick them to go towards that backline and kill them as soon as possible. But I really like how the Mythic composition just feels like a really nice unit built around protecting this area and being able to survive team fights together without risking it too much.
Yeah, it does. It does feel pretty cohesive. I do agree with you there, TDS. And lots of opportunity to find advantages as well. A lot of these potentially aggressive champions. Some potentially aggressive lane matchups. So it's certainly possible. I think that this game could snowball in either direction. But if it does go late, it's certainly, as we've already discussed, be favored for Mythic Ascension with the incredibly strong front line that they have, not to mention the incredible power of the Zerayumi in the late game.
Exactly, and it's not trying to really, obviously not try to discredit the side of PA Changs or anything like that, but the Jinx is the one that you're looking for when thinking about late game scaling. When in Mythic you can see more options and more avenues for that to end up working out, and that's why I think we're giving the edge to that side. But at the same time, I think that mid game wise, PF Chang's has such a good chance because with 1.5 items on both the Akali and the Wen, if they are not horribly behind, they can really make a lot of the team fights go their way. And Gragas and Ornn, itemization wise, even if they are a bit ahead or if they are a bit tanky, first items are not the best typically for tanks unless you're super far ahead. Like, those first items don't really find the value until you get a couple more stacking up on each other. And that's when Akali and Wen can really find those avenues to make the team fights go their way and try and put PF Chang's on the lead. I think that's where we're going to see PF Chang's come try and shine, because if they play an equal game, I don't think that they have an advantage over Mythic.
Yeah, you're quite right, TDS. The early spikes for the tanks, not really that threatening. And of course, sort of a counterpoint for that, though. On the side of PF Chang's, I feel like Akali and Gwen aren't necessarily the strongest in the early game either. Like, they both kind of want to get towards like level 9, 10, 11. They want to get, their first item they're strong on their first item. Don't get me wrong, but like, they're not so strong on that spike that they could just like straight up threaten like one of these tanky members, assuming a relatively even game state. So, like, while I completely agree that PF Changs do need to find that early advantage, and I expect them to play somewhat aggressively in the lanes and in the early game just in general, I do think it might be a little bit difficult with the composition that they've put together.
And I agree with that part because, like you're pointing out, I feel like more so than them just excelling at that point in the game, it's more so like they need to utilize that moment to get a lead. Because playing it normally probably is not the way that they want to try and approach this game. And even though that first item power spike is not the best, it's kind of one of their main chances that they'll get, to put it like that, right? Because it's kind of the moment where they are closing in on level 2 ultimates, which is a really good for both the Akali and the Wen, that they get a huge power boost off of that level 2 ultimate. Then they'll be playing around, just thinking about objective wise, should be around third to fourth Drake mark if you have taken those Drakes really early on. So you have to take those team fight opportunities where the teams are close together or they are trying to get that vision where you can get pickups to try and get advantage as well. And that's the point that I want to see PF Chang's try and go hard on the game, because they cannot go equal even until 30 minutes. Like, their game plan cannot revolve around that, even if they have Jinx.
Yeah, it just seems like that would not really be a recipe for success. So it'll be exciting to see what they can get done. They do have the Volibear, which can be incredibly potent in the early game. So I think our eyes are going to be pretty much glued to Swag 2028 in the jungle here for PF Chang's in the early minutes to see what they are able to make happen. And TDS, if you were the Volibear in this situation, what do you think your game plan would be? What would you look towards?
I honestly would like them to focus bot lane, because I think that it's going to be one of those lanes where Yumi will get the push just off of existing because of the range and all that. And I think that having that CC chain possible with Braum and all that, I think that it's a really good lane to try and attack. Like, I do think that Yumi should be able to win that out, but they are also squishy. If you get on top of them, especially because of how the chain of stuns can work out with the Seri and the Yumi, since you can focus one mainly instead of the two, then it can really turn into something really useful for the side of PF Chang's. And giving kills to this Jinx is always going to be amazing.
Oh
If
yeah.
we come into 20 minutes with Jinx having 1.5 items, or 2.5 items potentially with because of a lead, that already can just boost your composition so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Jinx getting ahead is pretty much exactly what PF Chang's need if they're going to want to take this first game. But the Zeri and the Yumi can be quite elusive, even
Yeah.
in those early minutes. So it might be tough to pin them down. We'll see if PF Chang's are able to pull off an early game win or if MA will outscale them and secure the win in game number 1. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back with Style Esports Week 4 after this short break. right, everybody. On to the Rift for game one. Sorry about all those technical difficulties delaying our start time tonight, but we are here now. PF Chang's on the blue side, going for a nice aggressive invade at level 1, trying to find that early advantage, right, TDS?
I was waiting so much, hoping that they stayed on the right spot so that they could get that level 1 going. But really good from Brecken to deny it and honestly not give up anything this early on is quite important for the side of Mythic.
Yeah, definitely. It's not going to find anything at the level 1, though. It's going to be, looks like opposite side starts for our junglers, both on their respective blue buffs. This one on for Swag is warded out, though. So they're going to know, well, both blue buffs, I suppose, are warded out. So full knowledge for both teams.
Pretty much full information for both sides. They know where both junglers are starting and what they may want to try and achieve with this. And it seems like Swag may be hinting towards what we're talking about, right? The fact that the
Yeah,
Bolivar opting towards bot side to maybe get this Jinx going is probably the plan why he's starting on the top side.
yeah, we'll see if he's able to succeed with that game plan. Oh, this is a very generous leash from Brecken on the Yuumi, even starting up the Gromp for his jungler. It's very, very kind.
It's not typical that
Zeri,
we see something like that.
what was that?
It's not typical that we see something like that.
It is a little bit unusual, yeah. That's why I pointed it out. It was a little bit
Yep.
surprising to me that Brecken would invest that much. He's going to be a little late to level 2, I believe, actually, as a result. But Zeri Yuumi, not really trying to win the lane or anything like that necessarily, so probably not going to be all that impactful. Yeah, you can see that they're just kind of seeding pressure. They're just going to wait to collect the wave as it comes in and get themselves nice and farmed as comfortably as possible.
Exactly, and I think that that may be also be coming from, although wait a second, Gragas is pathing bot side after
Yeah.
clearing his jungle.
His full bot side, and then straight into the bot lane for a gank. Monster is here first. Jaquel is running out of HP. He's flashing away, trying to stay alive, but it's looking like he might be first blood for the Zeri. They want to give her the kill, and they do. It's a Jazz that picks up 400 gold to start things off in game 1.
And what a great plan coming in from the side of MTC. It starts off with that leash, right? Clearing the vision, yeah, we know that they are going to start on the bot side, so it's not like out of nowhere. But with the clear that they get, the fact that it also provides the push to the enemy team means that they are kind of baited. And that means that MC Monster can just come down there and get the gang going. I think Braum used the summoners without really needing to, because he was dead anyway. Like, there was no opportunity for him to survive in that position.
Yeah, it was really tough. Just like walking into the river
Ouch.
brush there. Oh, the flash forward.
Ouch.
Yes! Oh dear, the Zeri already 2-0 in the early game, and now Swag has been spotted out by Monster trying to go for the invade. He has his mid laner here. No, it's flashing forward his shift. They're able to pick up the kill onto the jungler, so it's PF Chang's able to get one back. They're trying to chase down. They have a man advantage in the top side jungle now. Kraith is pretty low on the Ornn. Looks like he's going to be able to escape underneath the tier 2, though. And PF Chang's not going to be able to find much more, but they do defend their jungler on the invade and successfully punish Monster for that greedy move towards the bot side.
Doing a really good job at taking away from this Gragas' early game, and I think that could have been played out a bit better by MTC. I honestly thought that with the positioning, the fact that the Ornn was coming first, if Ornn gets a knock up there, which I thought was going to be the plan, then they can probably try and turn around. But they commit everything to the Gragas, the knock-up doesn't come through from the Ornn, and it's a really good kill that they gain back. Also because look at the CS difference in the jungle. Yes, Gragas got a great gank, but the Ornn, the Bolivar, I mean, is really far ahead now compared to the Gragas.
Yeah, he definitely is. He literally has double the CS of the Gragas right now, thanks to that successful invade, and Gragas not able to collect his red buff or Raptors on the first spawns as Jakale. Gotta be careful. This Zeri is already gonna be pretty strong, sitting on Noon Quiver. That's a significant item advantage over Drury Lane. So now this Jinx Braum, they're gonna have to be the ones playing on the back foot. They're gonna have to be the ones that are respecting. If Monster comes back down here, oh, the zap. Jakale is so close to going down again there, but just barely able to hang on. I think that Braum needs to go back to base ASAP.
That would be the best plan, but you know what they say. Close but no cigar. Jaquale survives, so there's no issue over there. Maybe they do want to force an issue here.
That's unbreakable. Don't know if it's going to be enough, as he has indeed been broken. Drury Lane now on the run, and Jazz picks up number 3.
And you said it perfectly. He should have backed, and he didn't
He
back.
really should have.
Another kill for Jazz. 3-0 for a series at 540. That's nothing, not something that you want to see ever.
Scaling team, by the way, as Kraith is doing pretty well up here against Espada. Espada's trying to play it out aggressively, trying to get these trades onto the Ornn, but it's an interesting actually itemization from Kraith. He just went for the armor, even though he's laning against magic damage. He's like, nah, Bramble Vest. It's just Bramble Vest. It's like, oh, okay. It seems to be working out all right so far. This Jazz is just going to get this crash in.
Ooh.
Oh, the needlework comes out. Espada level 6 first. Daddy's DJ, I should say. Monster makes his way up here into the top lane, and Espada a little bit overextended. Already used the ultimate. No flash either. The Gwen is running the Ghost, and now the barrel is going to finish him off. Monster gets his first of the game, and it is PF Chang's. They were able to get that one kill in the enemy jungle, but it really seems like the side of Mythic Ascension are continuing to stack up advantages.
And honestly, I don't think necessarily that the plays on the other side of the map have been bad. I think Swag had a really good idea on the gank in mid lane. It simply didn't pay off, but they did blew the flash off of Juice. But on the top side, if that solo kill works out as well, you get now all of a sudden a really strong winning lane that it's hard to stop. But because that doesn't work out, it's more obvious the fact that they are losing the bot lane because there's no one else that can answer accordingly to that big lead down there.
DJ still level 5 on the Yone. No way for Mythic Ascension actually to contest the objective there. So that is something for PF Changs. They're able to pick up the first neutral for themselves.
Yeah.
About 30 seconds until our Rift Herald arrives onto Summoner's Rift.
Are they gonna fight it though? I mean, on the side of MTC, like, do they need to fight this? I'm not gonna comment on that. Do they need to fight this? You're already on a lead with your main carry on the Seri, and if they do commit for the Herald on the side of PF Chang's, you give free plays to the Seri, essentially.
Well, they're on the bot side right now. Volibear with some very aggressive positioning in
Yeah.
the enemy jungle right now. Is trying to catch Monster if the Gragas makes another move towards bot lane. I think that's what Swag is thinking. He's going to catch him on the rotation, but seems like Monster's not going to go for it, and Swag is wasting a lot of time there in the river.
The biggest thing is also because I don't think that even if they do force a fight there with a second daddy...
Go in. Perfect execution. The Fate's Call comes out, and
No
DJ
flash.
trying to get underneath the tower, but the World Ender from Volibear, or rather the Stormbringer, I should say. Ooh, a nice barrel from Monster. Gets a Kali locked down under the turret, and he's able to get one back. So both mid laners go down, and there's a trade of ultimates as well.
Really well done there by Monster to not only respond accordingly to the play, getting that counter kill. I also fell on the trap from calling the Yone the first name, so nothing to do there. But all in all, important kills that he get. Oh,
Jack. Oh, that's not good. He has the shields. He's barely able to stay alive. The shots from the Zeri not quite coming through. Drury Lane also going down quite low. They're just trading back and forth with the Zeri after she'd activated the ultimate, and now the heals from the Yuumi may come into play. Jinx and Brum underneath the turret trying to farm up. Looks like they're going to be okay for now, but they really need to be being a little bit more respectful of the current position of Zeri Yuumi in this game.
Especially now with Yuumi level 6. Now it's even more dangerous because now the CC can be a little bit higher, and the damage, obviously we know how strong this series damage is right now. Quickly to point out though, we were talking about the Herald, no fight happened really. It was just collected by Volibear over in the top side, and it's a lot thanks to the fact that they are ahead in both of those lanes and putting pressure.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a perfect example of what lane priority can get you, right? It's a great call out there, TDS. I did miss that. So thank you for pointing that out, as Herald is indeed in Swag's pocket right now. DJ going in with a little bit of soul unbound action, and Shift going to follow up with the Shuriken. Very close to going into turret range there, but Jack is in trouble again down here as Swag makes his way into the top lane, and Kraith did not see that one coming. So getting that solo lane even farther ahead is great news for PF Chang's.
And now we're beginning to see a little bit of a shift, because now that the bot lane is not dying over on the side for PF Chang's, the fact that there's a good response coming in on the side of MTC means that the gold will be more than likely coming back. Ooh, that was close. Really good shield timing there. The gold is going to turn back into the favor, or at least closer into the side of PF Chang's. And now this series is not as strong as she previously was. Like, the lead is not that much. Are they
She
gonna
is
fight
getting
this?
some damage done to that bottom turret right now. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Herald has been summoned. They know that the Gragas is not in the area. They're going to get the charge into the turret. Not too much more, though. Kraith has teleported back. He's here to defend. A couple of turret shots onto the Volibear. He has the ultimate,
Oh,
though.
he's
He's going to
dead.
go in, disable the turret now, and I think Espada should be able to get this kill, and indeed, he will. Number 2 for the Gwen, and the turret is going to continue to take a beating. They're going to look for a play onto the Jinx, though. They want to try and go for the bot turret first, and Jinx evaporates as she tries to move up to defend. It's a race for first brick. Who's going to get it? I think Swag and Espada have the lead up here in the top lane. They're on their last ranged creep. They do have another wave coming in, though. Swag is going to pick up aggro and have to walk it back for a second, but I think they should still be able to pick up the first brick, and they do. So, going to get a little bit of extra gold. And actually, Jazz and Brecken are just going to leave the turret alive. They weren't able to get the first turret, so they're going to elect to try and elongate the laning phase a little bit. They feel like they have such an advantage right now in the duo lane that they're not ready to shake things up yet. They want to keep Jinx and Braum walking back down here.
Honestly, I'm not against that. I like that they are not destroying the turret because, like you're pointing out, they already missed out on the first turret break. So, on the first break gold, I mean. So it's not like you're in the desperate need of taking down the turret, and instead you can still keep the lane a little bit alive, maybe force out the Jinx into a tough spot, and get more gold for the Seri by getting those kills. So it's not like you're in a desperate need of that happening. I think the biggest worry here is more so the mid lane, because he's really far behind. Leon is really far behind here.
Gragas has his Night Harvester completed. It is the AP Gragas, so he packs a little bit of a punch, and he is able to waddle away from a very angry bear who was not ready to take a barrel to the face. So both junglers posturing right now, trying to get position to fight over this second dragon. Monster is going to walk into the bear now, and Swag's going to get a great trade-off. The Super Mega Death Rocket comes out as well. Gragas quite low, and Shift is in. Oh, he misses the Shuriken, though. They do get the fate sealed, and DJ, it's not enough. The Yone goes down. Jazz is here, though. The Zeri so strong right now. Shift going to get rooted up by the final chapter. Final Spark called out as well. So many low health bars. Is it a Zeri moment? Jazz flashing away, and no! He gets shut down. It's Shift flying back there and picking up the money. Now Brecken, the little kitty cat, is able to crawl away towards the tier 2. It looks like she will be able to escape.
Dead.
Oh, he sees the Gragas in the bush. He flashes over the wall, and they immediately pick up another kill. It's PF Chang's 3 for nothing in the bot side of the map, and they're going to be able to take all of these camps as well.
Their control over the bot side is so good. Honestly, Jazz, I don't know what he was thinking. There's no chance that works out. You're alone there. Yes, Yumi's there, but you're still sorry. Like, I understand thinking more so.
Okay,
I think
all
he's
the
dead.
Force God comes out. Kraith trying to outplay. He doesn't have a turret, and Gwen is very, very capable of running him down in this long lane. The Kraith's going to flash away now. He's desperately trying to live. Done another dash not available for the Gwen. So the Ornn uses everything, but he does escape with his life. You were saying?
Had to use everything. He's alive, and that's the important part. I will just to finish the point on both sides. Seri can win those out with the Yumi with another item, not when you're on just one item and you know that there's no backup at all. Like, there were 4 members down there in bot lane. Yumi doesn't even have a mythic either, by the way.
Very true. Yeah, they just they thought they were in a good position. There were a lot of low health bars. I thought that maybe Zeri could have cleaned up there, but it just took one ability. I think it was possibly a stun from the Volibear that pretty much sealed the deal, and Zeri just was not able to escape whatsoever. So big shutdown over to the Akali, and now Jazz is going to have to try and fight his way back, try and reclaim that advantage. Jinx has completed her Mythic as well, so you know the AD carries really not too far apart anymore in terms of current power levels.
Kind of. I would still think that there's a difference in power levels because of the supports. Because I do think that we have to consider them a little bit in a package. But in just straight up terms of damage between both AD carries, I think Jinx now is a little bit closer. They want to dive this.
He wants to go for it. Yeah, he has the Stormbringer. Oh, the flash in for the Glacial Fisher. Gets the knockup. That was smooth from Jakale. He does go down, but the setup was great. The follow-up maybe a little bit too slow. They do get the stun. The Super Mega Death Rocket. Just a little bit more damage is all they need, but they can't close the distance. The zoomies are just too much. Brecken keeps his AD carry alive, and now Jazz. It's only a matter of time until he runs straight down Drury Lane and builds himself a little house there. The zoomies come in once again. Jinx running for the hills. The Flame Chompers come out. Just barely sidestepped as the projectile connects. And Drury Lane, there was never any chance of escape from that one as Zeri Yumi strikes again.
You know the part that makes me laugh even more from that kill is the fact that he takes the turret and the jinx at the same time. Like that
That was
that's
pretty funny, yeah.
a perfect example of what happened down there because they were diving the Suri originally, but there weren't four champions this time. It was only three. And we were talking about the Suri and the Yumi having those ultimates value and all that. The strength from the support on the side of PF Chang's is not comparable to that of the Jumi at this point, and I think that that ended up mattering so much because Brown dies, then there's no follow up with the Bolivar, and then the Jinx, yes, she's trying to deal damage, but she can never reach the spot. They are simply not strong enough.
Yeah, yeah, they just the coordination wasn't quite there. They weren't quite able to lock down the Zeri long enough to actually make that dive happen. It looked good, I think, from Jack off the bat. I think the initiation was decent, but they just weren't quite able to make it happen. And of course, it is certainly arguable that it wasn't a good idea to go for that in the first place. Um, as the mid lane is getting pushed in right now. It is Kraith grouped up with the rest of the team. We have just 1 minute until the third dragon does spawn. So they want to maintain this priority over the mid
No shift.
down as these melee characters huddle under the tower as DJ is going to get found out in the enemy jungle, but he has a cat with some healing.
Yoni is really, really weak. He's 2 levels behind
Okay.
the Akali.
It's a monster finding a Gwen in the side brush there. The spotter will be pushed away. Looks like he's heading back towards the top side. Maybe do a little cross mapping as that objective spawns in.
Honestly, both the Suri and
Do
the
you like
Yumi
this
are pretty
call,
much keeping
TDS?
this
Do you think the
game.
Gwen should be... she doesn't have teleport right now, so she is investing in the top side of the map as opposed to grouping up for the dragon fight.
I honestly don't like this very much. The fact
TDS,
that
are
they
you still
are...
with me?
Oh, can you hear me? What? Wait, can you hear me? Yeah, is it sounding? What?
Not sure what's going on. If the stream is still up or if there's some kind of issue. That was the Cloud Dragon going over to Mythic. Oh dear.
Am I still alive or what? Can you hear me now? Wait, so can stream still hear me?
Hey, TDS, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, did you also just have a little bit of an issue there? Or was
Yeah,
that me?
I don't know what happened there. Like it just kind of went weird.
Okay, so you also had that connection issue?
Yeah, it felt like that. Like I couldn't honestly hear anything or anything like that.
Okay, well, I'm glad it wasn't just me. It looks like the stream just kind of continued. So I'm not sure. Um, okay, here's kind of what I'm thinking. We could pause where the stream is at right now, and then we could try and resync ourselves with that. You down with that plan?
Okay, it's 21:47, right?
Yeah, okay, so we're gonna pause. Sorry about that, everyone. Technical difficulties again is really their technology giving us a very hard time tonight. It's very unfortunate. So my current game time, according to the bot, is 22 minutes exactly.
Okay, I'll go to 22. Oh, I'm stopping 22.
So 22:02 is what we'll do actually.
Okay, I'm 22:02.
Okay. Oh, actually, it looks like my spectator might be broken here, TDS.
Oh no.
I can't go past minute 18. It won't let me go any farther in the game.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
I've known of not letting you go farther back, but farther in, that's weird.
Yeah, it appears to be extremely broken. I'm gonna try see if that fixes. Okay. I am back into the game. Um, but now I can only go as far back as 24:30. So TDS, you're gonna have to solo cast for a couple of minutes. All right.
Okay, and what time is it?
So the stream is at 22:02. I'm at 24:30.
Okay, I'll go. Okay, so just tell me when you started, and I'll
Yeah.
start at the same time.
Okay. So you're ready for 22:02?
Yeah, let's go.
On three, one, two, three.
Okay, so I think we're still live, and you can still hear me. And that's perfectly fine. We're bound to go into a dragon fight. It's going to start in 45 seconds. We've missed out. Well, not actually. You have seen what has happened. It's a pretty even game in a way with the kills, but in reality, it's mainly the difference that this series is providing and not anything else. Like everything else is in favor of the side of PF Chang's. It's going to be a tough fight, I think, for MTC, but it's not like they cannot layer their CC and try and win it. They are going to try and dive under the mid lane turret, forcing the flash out of the Jinx, and they get the kill, but they commit way too many ultimates to try and get this kill onto the Jinx. This may open up for the Dragon and potentially stop the soul point, but it's a really risky situation because a lot of the gold is not on that Jinx. Are they going to up back into the fight? Jquail, it's going to force them to Jazz. They are trying to kill this area as soon as possible, but quick escape, the thing that everyone loves and knows Seri for, is available here. Now Spada finding both of the tanks on the side of the map. They have 4 members against 2. They have enough damage. They are able to kill the Gragas, and the Orange soon follows. Now it's going to turn into the Dragon fight, and I think that this is going to be soul point going in the favor of PF Chang's. Seri may have gotten the kill on the Jinx, but Jinx is not the one that has the gold. You killed a lowly AD carry. Everybody knows that AD carries don't matter that much just yet, and it's going to turn into another dragon. I'm not sure how it's going to turn more into the favor of MTC, but right now PF Chang's have the tools, have the damage, and have the power to run this game.
Yeah, huge fight for them. Even despite you said like they lost the Jinx kind of at the start of that, but then still able to win out and secure themselves the dragon. Really huge for PF Chang's. And let's see what's the yeah, they have a pretty sizable gold advantage for themselves at this point. It's a little over 3,000 is what it looks like. Taking away some more camps once again.
Are they going to fight here?
Yeah,
Monster, oh, they really want this.
Gragas in the jungle. You cast this fight, I'm still a little bit behind.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, they get the immediate engage onto both of the champions. They get the kill onto the Gragas. Yes, Ornn is forced to flash away. And this may turn into a Baron. No smite on the side of MTC. And I think it's going to be a pretty free objective. And the important part is that
for me, leading
even
up to
though...
this DDS, please. You just
Oh,
count the clock for a second.
yeah, there's no...
You just say the
So,
time on the clock for a second for a couple.
36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44.
Okay,
45?
Thank you, TDS.
Perfect.
Appreciate that. I am now once again
Yes.
on the cast. It's a miracle. We did it. Okay. And PF Chang's got the Baron, which is not a miracle. They really actually were very well set up to secure that one, and they did. So now the gold lead has extended to about 5K, and they have pretty much everything that they need, I think, to try and start pressuring the enemy base. The Zeri is quite strong, does have 3 items, Jazz does, but he's in trouble right now.
Jazz.
No cleanse, he's going to get locked up here. He tries skating over the wall, but he's only skating straight into the grave. There goes his little cat as well. And now it is a 5v2 on the map, and PFC have Baron. So,
the biggest issue to me is the fact that they have a fight between their favor. They have the Baron, and there's no one strong enough to fight them. Your strongest members just died, so they can actually just push to finish if they really want to. Monster,
I think they might be able to. Yeah,
great
Monster
cast
flashed away on the
enough.
Gragas, but the Shuriken will connect shift, and it's actually a rocket from Drury Lane that finishes him off as the Tier 3 goes down in mid lane. We have Zeri spawning in just a couple of seconds, so I don't know if they're going to be able to end. They already have Gwen off in the side, starting to do some work on the Tier 2. So looking for some more turret golds. Now they're going to continue the siege. They still have some time left on Baron. Should be at least another minute or so. And the Tier 3 in bot will fall as well. See if they can break the second inhibitor. Everybody, except for the Gragas, is alive on the side of Mythic Ascension.
And it's going to be a reset then after that push. They don't get the second inhibitor, but being able to open up the base already is a really important win. And one thing that I wanted to mention previously with the kills that they were getting and the fact that there was a clear difference in the places where the gold was allocated, it's no longer the case, because now Jinx has pretty equal gold to compared to that of the Zeri. Obviously not equally strong, but she is really close to the Zeri. But when you compare the other places, Akali is way stronger than the Yone. The Gwen is way stronger than the Ornn. And then the jungle is kind of comparable, but the Volibear is still way stronger than the Gragas. And the support the support advantage is no longer that important either. So now you have a much stronger team on one side against a team that is solely depending on the Zeri being able to carry them out.
Yeah, it's very obvious, looking at the items as well. It's actually 4 items completed for the Volibear compared to only DJ in trouble, has the Fate Seal trying to escape. The R2 to follow shift needs just a couple more shurikens, I think. One more auto. There it goes. Kali picking up number 7. Absolutely dominating, but there is a Gragas there to punish him, and he will go down. The turret in the top lane will fall. Kraith has no defenses remaining. Level 16 Gwen, she is just the truly unstoppable one in that situation. She will cut down the Ornn. It is 4v3 again, a numbers advantage.
Oh.
And Zeri trying to look for a play, trying to turn things around. She has her jungler here as well. Jakale with, the barrel pushes them away. Unfortunately, Jazz trying to continue the chase, has the movement. The Death Rocket connects, and Drury Lane turns things around. Brecken not going to be able to escape. The last auto attack comes through. It's a double for Drury, and that will indeed TDS be the game. It was a crazy one. It was a bit back and forth. There were some moments for Mythic Ascension, specifically in the bot lane, where Jazz was able to make a lot happen. Monster with some creative moves in the early levels, and a whole slew of technical difficulties. But in the end, it is PF Chang's taking the first Nexus.
And you would think that when Zeri gets 3 kills to start of the game, that game is pretty much just keep on this pressure and it's done and dusted. But in reality, because of the way that the answers came from the other side of the map, the game was never close to being done. And we talked a little bit about this in draft. It's Akali and Gwen's job to destroy the Seri. And yes, Seri's ahead, but the ones that will destroy the Seri are also ahead. So you're in a situation where it doesn't really matter if you kill the enemy AD carry, your AD carry needs to be protected at all costs. And that's something that the side of MTC couldn't do at any point. And that's exactly why at the end it's such an easy victory in a way for PF Chang's.
Yeah, quite right. I am thinking back right now, TDS, to that. I think it was a fight around maybe the second dragon, where a lot of members on Mythic Ascension had already fallen, and Zarya and Yumi
Yeah,
stepped up, even though they were outnumbered, to try and contest. And that was that first shutdown that really, and remember, it went to the Akali as well. So that
yeah,
was
yeah.
the first big swing back in the other way, and it really seems like PF Chang's made the most of it. So Mythic Ascension back to the drawing board for game two. I wonder if we'll see some different picks in the bot lane, or maybe they felt like they can run that back, and just maybe the issue was in the gameplay, or we'll have to see what they decide to go for in the second game. Do you have any final thoughts on game one, TDS?
Mm, More so than I think that the approach is what needs to be changed from Mythic, more so than their champions. I feel like the next game is going to be quite fun, and I think that the side of PF Chang's did an amazing job also taking advantage of the place that they were strong. So I want to see what changes in the next draft. I want to see if they change sides as well, but I'm expecting a really competitive game once again.
We shall see. Don't go anywhere, guys. Hopefully, we're all done with our technical difficulties tonight. Fingers crossed. Thank you for bearing with us. We'll be right back once again for game two draft.
Wait, so in the draft, the sides are opposite. Who's blue and who's red?
Hmm. I believe, TDS, that it is Mythic on the blue side. I believe the draft little link is correct. So
Okay, okay.
that's what we're gonna go with for now, at least. Welcome back, everybody. Sorry again about all these delays and technical difficulties. We're gonna go straight into this game two draft. The teams have already gotten started. We have the Ziggs, the Maokai, and the Shen band away. And over here for PF Chang's, the Hecarim, Lucian, and Lulu. Volibear first picked. Swag going to be piloting, or no, it's going to be Monster on the Volibear this time around, denied from Swag, and the Silas and the Karma in response for Chain.
Exactly. Stealing away that Bolivar that in the first game did have some impact. I don't think it was the main thing, but it certainly had some good
Yeah,
impact coming in, and it was able to allow for a lot of the plays to work out. I like the Silas and the Karma pick here because of the power that Silas can have with those stolen ultimates, and then Karma boosting up certain members, as well as having a lot of potential control down there in the bot lane.
definitely. Karma, of course, one of the premier supports when it comes to lane priority and pushing. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of, if it's going to be the Zeri again, or maybe if PF Chang's want to go for something else. It is the side of Mythic Ascension going for the Jinx. So they are denying Drury's Jinx, and Drury in response is going to pull out the
Oh.
Twitch. The little Plague Rat is going to be paired alongside the Karma, which I think is certainly an unusual pairing. What do you make of it, TDS?
It's a weird one to say the least. I'm not fully against it just because you do have Karma and Karma does give you a lot of the potential push. The issue is that Jinx Soraka should be able to a certain degree outpush you a lot of the times, and then you have to find the avenues for this Twitch to really find the value. Like he has to move around, I think, a lot of the times. Or if you're going to play for that bot side, you have to get really good setup. So I think they need a really good ganking jungler to pair up with.
Hmm. Let's see what they decide to go for. There's not too much jungle focus in the second phase of bans just yet. It's going to be the Akali denied from Shift. Did have a great game on the Akali in game number one. And then it's going to be Lux and Olaf removed by Mythic. So a support ban and a presumably, well, I guess it's a top jungle flex ban, which are the two positions that PF Changs need to select still. So decent
Yep.
work there getting done by that ban.
Oh, they opted for Mordekaiser here. So I was thinking, well, Mordekaiser is still a flex, so I think it's not necessarily the worst. But I would have loved to see them pick the jungler here and then give counterpick to Spada. I think Spada played amazingly well in the first game. One of the most shining players, obviously, from the side of PF Chang's. And I think that it was going to be one of the players that could really execute well on the game.
Yeah, definitely. They have a lot of magic damage again, but it worked out pretty well for them, as you say, the first time around. So I don't think that's necessarily something we need to be concerned about at this point in time, as the Gangplank and Ari will be the solo laners for Mythic Ascension this time around. So definitely a couple of interesting lock-ins there. The Ari into the Silas. Are you familiar with that matchup at all? What do we know about that mid lane?
Mm, So you do get the range that Ari does like to utilize, and then the charm can always allow you to pick up certain champions with ease. But Silas does get a lot of ability thanks to stealing that, and then you do or you can get soloed if you're not careful enough as the Ari. So it's a really, I would say 60-40 to a certain degree, but I do like the fact that Ari can follow up on roams to the Silas, and then the mobility from Ari is nothing to scoff at either at level 6. But now we have a Kled as well. So that's a lot of extra mobility that a PF Shanks is going to be able to use whenever they want to engage.
Yeah, Kled on R5 for Crate up in the top lane. Certainly very different than the Ornn that they were on in the previous game. Try and find some Kled stats. Not really being very successful in that venture, but definitely a very exciting pick coming out from the top side, and a very aggressive one into the Gangplank.
Interesting. I'm not sure how that matchup is supposed to work out. I obviously I don't. I'm not a really great top lane expert, even though I do like some of the top lane matchups. But I would think that with the oranges, you can kind of ignore a lot of the values or a lot of the traits that may end up happening, and then your global presence may have a little bit more impact at the end of the Kled. But I'm expecting Kled to run this lane at the start, and then later on as the game goes, Gangplank to begin equaling out against him.
Okay, quick update for everybody here, TDS. We were actually wrong in our original assumption. The
Yep.
names in the draft lol are incorrect. It is actually PF Chang's on the blue side and Mythic Ascension again on the red side. So it was actually Mythic that had side selection in game one as well. So they are selecting red side 2 games in a row here. And we'll just have to see if it works out a little better for them the second time around.
It's going to be interesting seeing if they do get the opportunity this time around to turn it around. Now that they opted into a pretty different comp to what they have in the previous game, I think that this is much more of a mid-game focus comp with a lot of potential damage to play off of with. But you have a AD carry that has to match his positioning much more than that of the series, especially because he doesn't have the same amount of mobility at all.
Yeah, definitely. The Twitch, a very pretty far cry as well from what was piloted in game number one. It'll be exciting to see what he's able to make happen. The Karma, I am imagining some combos here, TDS, where Twitch can go invisible. You can get the speed up from the Karma and maybe surprise people that way. It maybe doesn't work quite as well as some of the more classic Twitch pairings like the Lulu or the Rakan that both just sort of enhance Twitch's invisibility extremely well. But the shielding and the speed boost from the Karma, I think, could be impactful in that way. Trying to win out in the bot 2v2. Make things, I mean, they did so well. The side of Mythic Ascension did so well in the 2v2 in the previous game, right? That I think we have to give them the benefit of the doubt on this one.
True. I think maybe it works out. A lot of that may fall into the comfort category where you just play off of what you're comfortable with and you try to win out based on that much more so than just a straight up comp. And I respect that. I think that that is a good way to shake off some of the previous game issues that you may have found. And with something that you feel much more comfortable, something that you can rely on much more consistently, you can try and turn around a series.
Yeah, comfort is key, especially in tense, like stressful situations and important games. Comfort is very often king. It's generally what you want to be going towards. Not to discount strategy and counter picks and that sort of thing, but when you know the limits of a champion like really well, when you know what you're capable of on that champion, that is oftentimes what is most important in clutch situations.
Yep. It feels like a little bit maybe more executable. I think is that a word? Is that actually
Yeah,
does that
yeah, I'm
actually
pretty sure
work?
that's a word.
Okay.
That works.
Okay, then yeah, executable. And if you're able to execute on it, well, that's already a huge part of it. Like we often talk about how important compositions may end up being, but just like in almost any other spot, as long as you're able to play it out well enough in the field, then it doesn't really matter.
Definitely. Yeah. So it's gonna come down to gameplay, I think, is what our whole conversation is boiling down to. Do you expect? So this is going to be then Swag's second game in a row on the Volibear since he was blue side both games. Locked it in. What was their first pick in game one? It was actually the Braum. Yeah. So they're not going to get their hands on the Braum this time around. It is going to be the Soraka instead. So a very different look actually for Jakale as well this time around. So do you expect Swag to sort of have a similar game plan to what we saw them go for in game number one? They were able to get the side of Mythic Ascension, rather, was able to catch them off guard as with the early jungle gank towards that bot lane. But do you think PF Chang's is kind of sort of run back the same strategy, or are you expecting something different with this composition?
Well, it's interesting because their champs, or at least a good amount of their champs, would rather just stay quiet for a lot of the game and not actually do anything. But the Bolivar and the Airy do actually want to try and make things happen in the game. Like they want to move around, which is kind of similar to what they had in the previous game with the Akali. Like she doesn't want to stay put in a lane, she wants to move around and try and kill people as much as possible. So I can see that similarity going into this game where they try to put a lot of the X onto the Gangplank. But at the same time, with a better support in the sense that the Soraka can scale better than the Braum, you can put more X into the bot lane, and you can also destroy any possibility of this Twitch becoming a menace.
Theoretically, yes. That
Theoretically.
is something that you could try and accomplish. So I think that the well, what's this? They're swapping around a little bit on us. I'm pretty sure the Ari is still
Okay.
going mid. We'll see though. But yeah, the or the mid jungle, assuming that it is the Ari Volibear that are in the mid jungle positions, could be acting as a little bit of a bridge here for PF Chang's to get towards their late game scaling with Gangplank and Jix waiting to get those crit items online, and Sirach, of course, as well. Getting those supportive items to really scale up her healing power is going to be really big for them as well. There is a decent amount of utility and healing on the side of Mythic Ascension also. They have the Silas, they have the Karma, for some nice healing and shielding power. Kled probably going to build a significant amount of life steal as well. And both sides, I actually would say that Mythic Ascension has a little bit more frontline. So if Twitch goes hyper carry in terms of build, and it does get ahead in the lane again, it's kind of a similar strategy, I think, for Mythic Ascension in terms of the comp that they've put together and how they're looking to play this one out. Although they do have, I think, more tools in the early game this time around.
Yeah, I can see that working out like that. It's still a toss up in the way that it may work out or how it may happen, right? Because I do think that champion wise, early game prowess is not the same compared to the previous game because like Gragas and Bolivar, I do believe are much more early game heavy or early game proactive in the early game. Yeah, that's the right
True. Yeah.
approach. Than Mordekaiser. I think Mordekaiser is the one that sticks out the most because he probably wants to get that level 6 before anything else, kind of like Hecarim or the Diana, to put it in an example. And then even more so, getting that first item can facilitate so much more for him. And it's not like he has a lot of good
Definitely.
setup in other lanes, right? Like there's no
True.
straight up point and click CC to work with.
Yeah, quite right. Could be very difficult for the Mordekaiser to try and make something happen early. It could be up to the solo lanes, perhaps, or the duo lane if they find a way to come out ahead once again. But TDS, it was PF Chang's that took game number 1. Are they going to be able to keep up the momentum here now that we have the drafts fully finished out? Who do you think's taking game 2?
I want to ride the PF Chang's hype and take PF Chang's.
Yeah, you think they're going to find the 2-0 here tonight?
Yeah, I believe in them. I
Oh.
think they can.
Okay, we'll see if they can do it. It was a strong performance in game number 1. I don't remember what the exact game time was on that one when it ended. I think it was probably around 30 minutes, maybe a little bit past. But we'll see if they're able to get another win here. Mythic Ascension, I'm sure, will do everything in their power to stop them. And I do like their composition a little bit better this time around. So don't go anywhere, guys. Game 2, right around the corner. right, everybody, welcome back to Summoner's Rift, Game 2 of the night. We have the exact same sides as we had in Game number 1, despite the confusion in draft. And what's this? Mythic Ascension, straight into the Tri-Brush, looking for a lone Soraka who will not fall prey to their advances and will successfully saunter away.
As always, disappointed to not see Soraka died, but it was really well sniffed out by Jaquale.
Yeah, and at least he's not playing Yuumi, right? Like, come on.
Yeah,
We can't hate
exactly.
Soraka too much when Yuumi exists.
Well, actually, I hate Soraka more, if I'm honest.
Really? Wow,
Yeah,
that
my
is
most
shocking.
hated champion. I honestly would rather delete Soraka
Let's not get
than
too
Yuumi.
much into it right now, as Mythic Ascension is playing very aggressively in the enemy jungle, and looks like they may want to stick around to go for the red buff. No, they will retreat at the last second. Monster is going to be very late now to his own buff because they didn't decide to stick around, so that is pretty awkward. But it
Kind of
will be just the bot side start for both teams.
I kind of think the reason why they are not sticking longer is because Crave Kyle doesn't have teleport on the on the on
Yeah.
the Khaled. So if they stay too long and it fails, it's not only bad for Monster, it's bad essentially for almost every other lane. Because top lane loses, jungle loses, mid lane loses away in a way as well, and I think that that's why they opt against it. They still get vision control, so they know where the Bolivar is going to opt into, and
Yeah.
now the Kled also will have
Ooh.
pressure onto the Gangplank with that Ignite.
Nice electrocute proc there for Shift in the mid lane, looking to continue his mid lane dominance here in game 2. So
Yep.
Brecken misses the Q on the Karma. Not what you want. That's what you pick the champion for, is the early pressure. And when you miss your skill shots, you're not applying a whole lot of pressure. Brecken extremely low now, down to 200, already chugging through all the health potions. And it looks like it's going to be PF Chang's bot lane, winning out early on in this one.
Already starting well, being able to put a little bit of that pressure down there. Obviously, they do have a little bit more range thanks to the Jinx rockets as well as the Soraka Q being able to hit quite a bit. But it also has to do with the fact that that invade ended up being anything. Like they got first to the lane and were able to push a little bit harder thanks to that.
Okay, so bot lane advantage, mid lane advantage right now. Gangplank able to get the shove in as well. So priority in all 3 lanes for PF Chang's on the first few waves. We'll have to track and see if that continues. Does, of course, I think, call back to the level 1 that they went for with that aggressive invade, where they
Yep.
were, potentially a little bit late to those lanes. Could have played a pretty significant role here. But regardless, it is PF Chang sort of slightly winning out for now, with only about a 500 gold advantage for the time being. Wallabear hanging out in the top side Tri-Brush, looking to catch a Mordekaiser, doing a little bit of face checking potentially. Very patient. Oh, Swag leaving the Tri-Brush just a second before the Mordekaiser made his way in there.
Monster.
But no, he will turn around. He will find the Mordekaiser in the end, and the bear is the new Lord of the Death Realm. Krathile on the Kled, pretty low HP as well, but ready to remount at a moment's notice, so not in too much danger. It will be just the Volibear falling back for the top Scuttle Crab, and we'll see where Swag decides to go next.
And this is one of those reasons why we don't typically see that much the Mordekaiser opting into those early fights. It's not like he cannot be a fighter in the jungle. The reason is that he is lacking experience. That is a big difference maker for Mordekaiser, as well as obviously a couple of items. So the fact that he's opting so early on for this, oh wait,
he wants to fight some more here. He's going for the Scuttle Crab. He desperately wants to get himself some Shellfish. I don't know if he's going to be able to go to the top lane. The Ignite comes down. Espada burning. The dismount coming through for the Kled. The Charm goes wide. If that landed, surely that would have been another kill. But Soraka's here with the heals. Exhaust comes down as well. Oh, but Twitch Jazz is looking for a kill. He gets the Expunge. He takes out the bear after the flash was already used. And it's going to be the side of Mythic Ascension on the board. It's a pullback onto Shiftar. He's going to get taken out as well. And now the numbers are very advantaged for Mythic Ascension. They're going to get another kill onto the marksman. Oh, just barely Monster able to hang onto a sliver of his HP bar. Jack now the last man standing. He's on the run. I don't think he's getting away. He has the flash, but Jazz had his own as well. It's going to be Brecken, actually, with the Mantra Q finishing that one off. And Mythic Ascension pick up 4 quick kills and find themselves solidly in the lead.
And that is a big mistake getting punished by the side of Mystic this time around. And I gotta call it out. To me, it's completely on shift. Flashes, charms, but I think the purpose was to flash over the wall and get the charm. He misses the flash over the wall and misses on the charm as well. So misses both of those skills and ends up forcing a really bad position for Swag. Also, just great rotation for an 80 carry. That's a really early rotation where Karma wasn't really that close, and it turns into such a good play for MTC. They get so many kills. They stop the bleeding that they were suffering in a couple of lanes. Obviously, it's not enough to make it so that it's a huge difference, but giving again enough of a lead for your AD carry may be the plan again for this game.
Certainly could be. Jazz is looking to set themselves up for success. Launch Q comes out. But the healing seems to be more than enough to deny any pressure from the Karma. So if Jazz does
Yep.
find himself with an early lead, I don't know if it's necessarily going to come through the laning phase, which is very counterintuitive for a marksman player, but that just seems to be the way things are looking right now.
Yeah, it's just such a now weird situation. Well, it's kind of similar to the previous game. So it's not like PF Chang's doesn't know how to try and handle this out, but it's certainly not the situation that you want to try and put yourself once again.
Yeah. I mean, the gold advantage isn't really all that significant, right? They're not really that far behind, and the Jazz hasn't
Yeah.
gone back to base yet, so he actually hasn't even spent any of that money. And he's just like a level 5 Twitch running around trying to do Twitch things. It looks like he wants to go back to base now, but the wave is very awkward. It's just the Jinx Soraka pushing it in over and over and over, not allowing the Twitch Karma to go back to base.
And I think that's
Mordekai's
the smart idea that they are opting into, because like you're pointing out, the difference is in base, and they need to spend it for the difference to count.
Yeah. And the Jinx Soraka just are not letting them. Meanwhile, Mordekaiser wants to make something happen in the mid lane.
As
Already
ulti.
extremely low on mana and has no ult. So Mordekaiser's going to go ahead and slam her into that Death Realm, but Volibear coming in over the top gets the kill onto the enemy mid laner first. Ahri will eventually fall, but now, oh yeah, this level 6 Mordekaiser versus the level 5 Volibear. It's going to be Swag forced to run for the hills, run back to his cave. But it will be a 1-for-1. Good job from Swag to be in the right place to get a trade there and make that one go even.
Honestly surprised that Mordekaiser got to level 6 before the Bolivar, considering the fact that the Bolivar was a little bit ahead in terms of CS. So maybe that fight really ended up mattering that much. Ooh. It's just poke.
Just poke. For now. Mordekaiser and Silas both making their way towards the bottom side of the map now. Twitch Karma still have not gone back to base. We are 8 minutes into the game. They have yet to press the recall button. Or
I'm
yet to
enjoying
complete
this.
the recall, I should say.
I honestly enjoy this part, although they are backing now. I thought they were going to keep on committing, but a fight may happen.
Well, they can't win a 2v4, so with Silas and Mordekaiser in the area, it will finally be time for Jinx and Soraka to do a little bit of retreating. They will have to take their foot off the gas for the moment. And Twitch and Soraka, and Karma, rather, will finally be able to go home for the first time this game.
After like 5 minutes of pleading for the Jinx and the Soraka to let them go back, they finally are going back. But I want to see the buy from the Jinx, because it's not going to be a bad buy either. Like, Jinx, yes, she died, but she did get a couple of plates down during the bot lane, and she also has the CS lead.
Very true.
Are they
very
diving?
true. What's it gonna be? A Drury lane. Oh, we got Stormbringer in the top lane. I wasn't even paying attention. I was looking at the items as Kraith is dodging away from the Super Mega Death Rocket.
Oh no, Shift, you failed.
Charm goes all the way to the middle of the ocean. I don't know what Shift was aiming at there. Monster's gonna find a bear though into the Tribe Rush, and this bear is running very low on health points. The stolen Stormbringer comes out. DJ looking to clean this one up. It's going to be the top laner going down first. Shift now. What was that flat? Where are you going, man? What? I'm so confused.
It was for the highlight play. I'm 100% sure it was for the highlight play. The highlight play doesn't work out, and that's another set of kills. But I honestly dislike so much the way that PF Chance is trying to set up these kills, because the idea of diving in with the Bolivar ultimate, okay, that makes sense. What doesn't make sense is thinking that you're going to get that out before the Kled remounts. Like, he's one hit away from that. He was going to get that kill. Oh, wait, bot lane.
Oh,
Jinx is dead.
Yep. Jazz making his way down. He still has the Contaminate, and there he goes. It's going to be Drury Lane getting cut down for the second time this game. Extremely sneaky from Jazz. And yeah, that's what happens when he has some items.
There's such a stark difference
Oh,
compared. Oh wait,
there's a
Jazz.
very fast rat, but there's a very big bear that was waiting for him. And I think bears win against rats. Jazz will have to flash away to keep himself alive. Has a lot of stacks built up. Swag is flashing after him now, but not able to get the CC down onto the marksman. Now it's
They are
Karma
too slow.
also flashing away. That's 3 flashes burned, and Karma and Twitch still kiting this one out. No ultimate available for Swag. Oh, but I think Jazz found himself on vision.
Enough.
Oh, he was setting a trap. Monster is here now. The bear trap has been set, and the bear now, he's got his foot well and truly stuck in it. He's trying to get underneath the tower. Mordekaiser can't quite close the distance, and now Monster is in such an awkward position. He's just given over a shutdown to Drury Lane. The zap connects. No death rocket. Means it'd have to be a lot smaller, right? He flashed over the Monster kill! Drury Lane, that was insane! He gets himself a double.
And actually gets the kills back. That lasted so long that Drury Lane dies, respawns, comes back, and gets 2 kills in the span of just a couple of minutes. Okay. Wade, Creed.
Espada. Speaking of bear traps, that one is on a rope. It pulled Espada back, but yeah, he's fine. It's all okay up there.
But what is not fine, it's continuing on the bot lane play just a little bit. That also turns into another plate for the Jinx, and now the second dragon of the game going in favor of PF Chang's, trying to salvage the situation, turn it around, and put them back in a spot where they can try and win the game. They are only 600 gold behind of
Pretty
MTC.
Even. Yeah, despite the kill difference, the gold, as you say, TDS, is quite even. They're able to keep this one close for now. Herald is been alive, actually, for several minutes at this point. Nobody making a move towards that one. Oh, Charm going wide again for Shift. Oh, I'm starting to feel bad for the guy.
Please, Shift, I believe in you.
Oh, wow. That's, again, an extraordinarily sneaky Twitch. He's in top lane. The Contaminate will
Is it enough?
I don't think it's enough. The potion ticking for Espada will keep him alive. He has to teleport as well. And now the punish. The charm. Oh, it connects. It wasn't the intended target, but it still lands. We count those. And Jazz, he just barely goes down. He's not able to finish off the Ari. And now Kraith, he is going to remount. He's going to dash forward. He has a bear trap. He has the ultimate as well. But, it's another charm landing. And that will be Kraith going down. Ari also gets picked off as DJ makes his way into this fight. But now he is in a 1v3 situation. This is not a winning one for the Silas. He will also get cut down. And overall, I believe that was a 3-for-1 fight, maybe even 4-for-1, as Drury Lane in a 1v1 with a Karma. I think I know how that one ends. Nice shot, Drury Lane. There's number 3.
Now, it would surprise you how many times that actually can end up being won by the support. So I won't say it makes complete sense, but that was still really well fought.
Yeah, and it was Drury Lane, playing it out quite well, which would prevent that from going in the support's favor. Who's gonna get the Rift Herald? Who's gonna get it? I didn't actually even see it. Swag with the Stormbringer just for a little bit of extra HP, and he did get the Herald as well. It's been picked up by Espada's Gangplank, and now with that, it is PF Chang's finding themselves with the gold lead. Jack has to run away from Silas, but will be able to do so. And another great fight for PF Chang's in the topside river. They kind of had 2 of those back-to-back interspersed.
We kind of see bot lane 1 sec. Drury Lane died, yeah.
Oh, wow. It really, really did, didn't it?
And it was the Twitch that just spawned that killed him. I only have one word for this game, and it's chaos. Everything is happening all around.
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Yeah, pretty much.
That thing won some awards, didn't it?
Maybe
this game will also be award-winning?
Maybe. Maybe we see it on one of the YouTube montages.
Yeah, that's the hope. And I'm sure that's what these teams are playing for as well. Winning the game would be nice, but a YouTube montage, that's what
it's extra publicity, and that's everything that matters. Also, I want to know why GP went for the Gauntlet, but maybe it's.
I mean, it's kind of he's not really getting chunked out by the Kled at this point.
True.
He seems to be very tanky. You do also get the Spellblade passive actually from the Frostfire Gauntlet, so I think this might be actually a very creative adaptation from the Gangplank. I kind of like it.
Well, it certainly changes a little bit of how the matchup goes, because now you don't get chunked as easily like you're pointing out. You also get the value from the Sheen anyway, and then the slow as well. But Gangplank almost always wants to have that extra damage. So
it's not going to let him be as aggressive, and doesn't offer any crit, right? So the scaling on the Gangplank will not be as good. But for now, he's quite comfortable in this 1v1 against the Kled. Not really afraid whatsoever. And just take as many bear traps as his heart desires, although that barrel will be denied by the Kled. And they're just going at it. Maybe to the death up here, as Kraith will dismount.
But
And
just like Gangplank kind of survives enough, it also doesn't, like, he's not winning either. Like, he's not dying, but he's not winning. So it's just kind of weird how effective it is.
If the goal is to neutralize Kraith's Kled, then he's succeeding by a mile. If the goal is to pressure the Kled, not so much. As that was nice from Shift. A little Spirit Rush over the wall. The point blank charm. That one's not going to miss. So
that's how you
a little
need
bit
to
of
play
redemption
it out.
for the mid laner.
Another one?
Looking for another one. Oh, didn't predict correctly on the dodge there. So we'll give DJ credit for that one. But the Everfrost does come out for a little bit of extra CC choppers as well.
Okay.
It's going to be Monster flashing for the Death Realm. He puts Drury Lane in there. The Jinx, she can't fight her way out of this one. She's going to go down to the Mordekaiser. Oh, the Soraka healing. They trade the Jinx for the Mordekaiser. The charm comes out. I think PFJ is going to be favored in this one. It's going to be Swag diving back towards the Twitch. And it's DJ trying desperately to peel for his marksman. Swag going way too deep here. He does eventually get the kill. Can he get out, though? His team can't follow up that deep. The Volibear will get cut down, so both junglers taken out in that fight, as well as both marksmen. A 2-for-2 in the mid lane.
But honestly, that fight exemplifies why I have so much hate for Soraka and why I would delete that champion before anything else. That should have been an easy kill on the Jinx, but Soraka just keeps her alive for so long that in future fights is going to be so much harder and harder. And then the Twitch survives for so long. Yes, they get the trade kill, but all in all, it's a fight that realistically should have been more in favor of the side of MTC, and PF Chang's just survives long enough that they can turn it around in their favor. Oh, Gangplank,
I'm glad we were able to circle back to that conversation because we did get interrupted concerning your Soraka hatred a little bit earlier. So I'm glad we were able to discuss that a little bit more. But Dragon number 3 is alive on the map right now. So that is what is happening at the moment. Monster has already started this one up. And the Rift Herald actually looks like it has been dropped in the top lane by Espada. So he's going to be putting on some additional pressure as the fight breaks out in the bot side river. Shift, Spirit rushing forward. When does the charm come out? Silas, DJ dashing in as well, getting a lot of damage out. It's going to be the trade of the Mordekaiser for the Ahri at the start of this one. But Silas quickly going to follow as well as Brecken is in the top lane instead of fighting for the dragon. So looks like they'll be able to deny the Herald charge, but Karma goes down. Espada picks up the kill in the 1v2, and the bot side is just an absolute massacre. PF Chang starting to come very far ahead in this one. There goes the Rift Herald. The eyeball has been popped, but this overall, I think, is a huge win for Chang's.
Yeah, the Herald dies. You were right on that, but the Dragon is also dying on the other side, and that is Soul Point. For the side of PF Chang, they are not killing Espada either on the top lane, so they lost a fight down there and then are losing the Dragon as well.
Which comes out, the Ignite available as well. The Ignite's available.
It's enough.
He just dies. He just burns down. Espada is an absolute raid boss up there. The Frostfire Gauntlet is making him unkillable.
Yeah, 100%. Works out massively, has enough armor to survive, actually. And it turns out that they win bot lane fight, they win top lane fight, they get the dragon. Yes, Herald dies, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, okay. Well, this is a little bit greedy, potentially, but Swag is still in the area. The Volibear is ready to spring the trap.
No.
He is one
no.
with the bear's trap now. He's using it against his enemies. The Stormbringer still available as well. Charm nailed that one onto the Karma, and it's going to be Ahri nailing down another kill. And Twitch trying to scamper away. His support and mid laner have both already been cut down. There's nothing that he can do all by his lonesome. Espada in the top lane has a 3-level advantage on the Mordekaiser. Might not matter. Has a little bit of fruit for some healing. The Obliterate comes down. It will be a trade as Monster had to go under the turret for that one, but Espada makes him pay for it.
And Spada can blame Soraka for that, because Jaqual did use the ultimate, but used it a second too late. So, yeah, the GP could have survived that play.
Well, you probably like to see that, actually. You're probably happy that she was late with the ultimate, huh?
I'm always happy that Soraka messes up, so...
Yeah. It's nothing against PF Chang's, right? Like, we like PF Chang's, we just don't like Soraka.
Well, they did pick Soraka purposefully, so...
Okay.
I do think that they are at fault here.
Well, careful now, TDS. I hear what you're saying, but let's try to remain as impartial as possible.
Never.
As the Baron did just spawn onto the Rift. I wonder if Baron is choosing sides in this one. I wonder how he feels about Soraka.
Well, I think he's more on the side of who has the most purple champions. So Bolivar is one.
So he does
And
like Soraka then, because she's purple? Is that right?
yeah, I think that would make sense.
Ooh.
So two purple champions on one side against Mordekaiser.
Okay, well, Espada just lost his turret, but he looks pretty comfortable still. He's winning out in this trade so far. He's got another couple of barrels down. Kraith a little bit late on trying to deny that one, but he will remount, so the Kled is safe for now.
Yo.
What is this? That's a very aggressive Baron start from Swag.
Monster
Mordekaiser's
is
not in the
outside.
area. I'm not sure if they're aware of that. Yeah, it's going to take a while for Monster to get over here, but I'm not sure how fast the Baron take is either. Mantra Q just onto the Soraka over the wall. Jazz is here, so the Twitch should be able to do a little bit of reconnaissance for the squad. Gangplank, Espada teleporting into the
Monster.
Pixel Crush, straight into the enemy team, but he's tanky enough to survive. They're still burning down the Baron, and they get it. PF Chang's, they finish the objective. DJ quite low now, but Kled is charging in the Stormbringer straight into the back line of Swag. Finds the kill. And
It's just standing up and fighting.
Yeah, it's just free firing for Drury Lane. Jinx is cleaning up on this one. It's going to be the Kled and the Twitch both that are dropping. It's an absolute annihilation of Mythic Ascension in the topside river. They're late to the objective fight, and they absolutely lose everything as the Sky Splitter comes down, and Swag finishes off that last kill in style.
So if people want to know why every jungler is essentially building Radiant Virtue and winning out so many fights, well, you could look at what happened right there in that fight. Because Volibear jumps into the backline, kills DJ, kills Jazz, kills Brecken. Pretty much by himself, because the rest of the team was focused on the Kled on the other side.
He really did, didn't he? That really did happen. He doesn't have any damage items.
What do you mean? He has enough damage with the smite, and then a little bit on the what is it called, the 3-hit rune, the press attack. Yeah.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah, they press the attack build. I didn't consider
Exactly.
that.
He has enough
Swag,
damage there.
Definitely came in pretty clutch. Yeah. And yeah, I wasn't trying to say that he didn't have damage. I just meant to say that he didn't have damage in the build.
Oh, really true. Yeah. Yeah, it's my mistake.
No. I wasn't clear when I was trying to make my point. It's not a big deal, but we do have our fourth and potentially final dragon spawning in under a minute now, right around 45 seconds, and the control around these objectives from Chang's has been exquisite over the last several minutes, the last several fights. So see if they're able to continue that. But Swag is nowhere even remotely close to this one right now. So potentially
he's giving them a chance.
Yeah, potentially they just want to play for some pushing in the top lane, but now he's kind of realizing that, like, oh wait, I should probably be on the bot side of the map. So he's going to be a little late to the party on this one, but that's okay. Swag's going to start making his way over. Oh, Drury Lane might be a little bit less than okay. That charm's not going to land, and the poison will finish off the marksman. So a 5v4 on the map for the side of Mythic Ascension means they should be very much in control of this one. But Swag is here now. Let's see if the Volibear can do some more shenanigans. A flashed away from that charm is Brecken. Here comes the bear. He's got a big old stun onto Jazz, and the Twitch might be going down in a hurry. There he goes. The Kled is trying to charge in, trying to make something happen. Mordekaiser trying to do something on the back line as well, but he's running out of HP rapidly. And Volibear is 1v3 on the other side of this fight. He just will not go down. The Mordekaiser will drop. Silas trying to go back in for a little bit more. Can't find it. It's just Jack. He's running. He's gunning. He's healing. And he will eventually die, but he bought plenty of time. And now it's just Kraith. He's got Brecken, actually. The Karma trying to make something happen. Shift is ignited, and he will get finished off, actually. Swag. The Sky Splitter, is it enough? He should be able to win out, I think, in this fight against Kraith. It needs another dismount onto the Kled. The Blast Cone comes out, but he does manage to get over the wall. Sky Splitter, just barely wide. There's the last W. I knew the bear was going to find it eventually. 13, 2, and 7 now for Swag 2028. 2 games in a row on the Volibear. 2 games in a row of domination.
That was a 4v5. Without the Jinx, without your 80 carry.
That really was.
5, and it really doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was. The Jinx is really strong too. It's not like she's behind or something where they didn't need her damage. It was just like she got picked off, and I was convinced that Jinx were gonna give that one up, but Swag said no, I can actually just fight the entire team by myself. And I was like, oh, okay, yes, sir, yes, Mr. Bear, you're absolutely right.
We never doubted him.
We never doubted him, and now he has an Ocean Soul, and we're doubting him even less. Jinx will be able to complete the recall. Espada.
Bye-bye, Espada.
That does mean that he's all by himself, and he's going to live for a while, but he also isn't going to kill anybody. He has an Ocean Soul. You know, he's getting a lot of value here, but again, it
He's
doesn't
dead.
really matter. He's gonna die eventually. As Jack, ooh, he got put in a death realm, which is somewhere he probably doesn't necessarily want to be. Does get pulled back by the Death's Grasp, and yeah, that's a lot
Nice.
of Mythic Ascension members. They're gonna be able to
Oh
take out the
no.
Soraka, and you're pretty happy about that. But now they're getting collapsed on as the mid jungle comes rolling through. DJ trying to escape the point blank charm is gonna be the chains, waiting for the
There's
cooldown.
two.
There it is, double kill for Shift. And now Monster, yeah, here comes Kled, but he's a little bit late now to this particular party as the Mordekaiser is going to get taken out. Kled is going to get dismounted. Swag has all of the damage that he needs to pick up another kill for the mid laner. It is Shift with a rough start to this one, but now 5, 6, and 11 on the Ahri with a nice little bounty on his head. Really turned things around spectacularly. And
They
now
also
they're
have
on to the next
supers to
turrets.
finish the
It's
game.
going to be Swag going in with the Stormbringer, and too long on the respawns for the jungler and for the solo laners. I don't think Twitch and Karma are going to be able to hold this one, TDS. The Super Mega Death Rocket
I
comes
don't
on
think
across for
either.
just a little bit of flair. And this will indeed be the 2-0 for PF Changs. You called it, my friend, and you were absolutely right. Swag
I never
making it
doubted
happen
them.
on the Volibear.
I never doubted them, always believed in them. Even with the iffy start, they certainly are able to pull it off. And a lot of that, once again, we have to give so much credit to Swag. He played this game out so well, really effective as a jungler,
Mm-hmm.
found so many opportunities, pretty much 1v3 for a lot of the game as well, and just able to carry out a lot of the weight and a lot of the performances that the team needed.
I don't really remember how he got so far ahead in the first place. Like, it really just seemed like the
It
game was
happened.
pretty even, and then there was just like a big fight, and all of a sudden Volibear was 1v9. Like,
Yeah.
well, not necessarily 1v5, we'll say, because his team also actually did play quite well this game. But the Volibear, it really just seemed like he came out of nowhere. I don't know what happened.
It's kind of hard to really pinpoint where it was because at one point there was a lot of control for the side of MTC. Like they won a couple of fights. The Twitch was like 103 or 203, so he was really strong. And then on the other lanes, they were able to keep a lot of control. But I think a fight around the Herald was what really just
Mm.
changed the balance of the game once again, and it just
Yeah.
enabled the side of PF Chang's to come back.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, last game, I think I'm pretty sure. I don't recall exactly, but I'm pretty sure it was over 30 minutes. It did seem like it did feel like it dragged out a little bit. But this one, well under 26 and a half, very
Yeah,
clean from PF Chang's. And Volibear by far the most damage in the game at right around 29,500, significantly more than his Jinx, who was only at 21,000. Second highest in the game was actually Jazz on the Twitch to just under 26.
understandable.
So yeah, yeah. I mean, Jazz really tried. Jazz honestly had a couple of really solid early games, but it seemed like the team maybe wasn't that great at playing around him, and things really just kind of fell apart for Mythic Ascension pretty rapidly in the mid game. Honestly, both games.
It really like it felt like there was a pretty clear divide after a certain point where BF Chang's was just more benefited from it. Like they were clearly better after a certain point without trying to call out the side of MTC. And I think that if they can correct this sort of things, they can really become a strong team because they have a really strong bot side. Like both games, they were ahead in bot lane. Maybe not necessarily by farm or anything like that, but they got really good kills and got a really fed AD carry that could have carried out the game, but they never really played off of that super strong AD carry. And I think that
Yeah.
if they can correct that, then they can certainly try and look to be better as a whole as team.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they are going to need to correct it ASAP, right? They had an
Yep,
unfortunate 0-2 loss yesterday, another 0-2 loss today. Mythic Ascension really seem like they're floundering right now, which we hate to see, right? Mythic Ascension, one of the
100%.
most storied teams that we have in our league. They've been around forever, and we always like to see them succeed. So hopefully they will be able to turn things around. But huge credit to PF Changs. They played exceptionally tonight. Extremely good play coming out from them. Who's your POG, TDS, for this second game? I mean, I think it's pretty obvious from where I'm sitting.
Yeah, mine is honestly, it's pretty set in stone.
I
Swag
think so.
performed greatly, and I think he deserves fully the credit of being the MVP today for his team.
Yeah, yeah, I'm right there with you. I think pretty much enough said on that front. Do you have any final thoughts, any closing thoughts on tonight's match, TDS?
It was a fun one until a certain point where it was total domination, but it was a fun one overall. And I'm glad that I was able to come here tonight. Hope that I can be here soon enough as well and get another chance at casting with you, crewman, as well.
Absolutely. It's great to be back. It was a lovely, lovely match to return to. Thank you to both of our teams. And thank you to everybody out there watching in Twitch chat. Thank you again for bearing with us with all those technical difficulties earlier. Obviously something that we were also not enjoying having to try and figure all that out. But all's well that ends well. We were able to make it happen in the end. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. From myself and the entire production team at Style Esports, good night. We'll see you next time.